I'm here to announce your speaker, Mark Anderson, and his topic today is online recruitment, past, present, and future. I'd like to take the opportunity to welcome Mark, who is the Senior Director of Enterprise Sales for Beyond.com, the world's largest network of niche career communities. Mark has spent many years in the recruitment advertising industry and has held many influential roles as such as companies as TrueStar Solutions, First Advantage, and Bernard Hod's Group. Hodis? Sorry. Throughout his career, Mark has served as a strategic advisor to several leading companies on the subjects of talent acquisition, recruitment, technology, employment branding, and diversity recruiting. Today, he's going to provide us with a valuable insight on how the online recruitment landscape has evolved over the years and where it's headed in the months and years to come. Without further ado, here's Mark.
Thank you. Hello? As she mentioned, Mark Anderson. She didn't mention, IIRC was when I started back in 1990, which is International Internet Recruiting Consultants. And at the time, the internet had just really hit the scene, and we were educating employers on how to really use the internet. So I want to hit the past a little bit, but I'll speed through that pretty quickly because obviously it's much more interesting to talk about the present, and then even more so the future. And a lot of that's kind of speculation. And feel free to jump in, especially on the future part, where we kind of discuss where things are going. Before we can really jump into even the history of the internet recruiting. It's interesting to take a look at before the internet. And if you remember as a job seeker, for those who were looking for jobs before 1990 or so, you would get a newspaper and a highlighter and a red pen, and you'd circle it, and you'd go and you'd see job fair, or you'd see send your resume to this address, this email address, and go stand in these long lines. You'd look for help wanted signs. Off to Kinko's to go fax in your resume, and it was just it's a nightmare. So in order to really appreciate what the internet has done for recruiting, you have to really put yourself into that mindset of how things have really evolved. So with that being said, the early days, really the late 80s and the 90s is when the internet and really the personal computer started to take root and really get into people's hands. And if you look at that, what that did for recruiting, you had files of resumes, and you went and filed them by, my salespeople. I mean, how detailed and broken down you get with a filing system. And then all of a sudden it went to Outlook folders, and then you can drill down into specific folders. You've got keywords, you've got, back then it was, the access databases and things like that, and the staffing firms really took advantage of that. So if you looked at kind of 1992 to 2000, the staffing firms would basically, they'd go and they'd mine the resume databases, and they'd hand over these resumes to the employers. The employers would pay $5,000 and say, wow, that's what a steal. I didn't have to pay 30%, I had to pay a 20% fee or a $5,000 flat fee. I did it. It was great. Little did I know, all they did was just got a resume, handed it to me, and then I'm paying $5,000 for it. So it wasn't really until kind of, I guess, 1999 or 2000 that employers really started to get educated and find out I can do this myself, and really started to dig into it and find out that they could, things like the Monster Board at the time and OCC and some of those that I'll talk about came onto the scene. And then, since then, really, Web 2.0 and all things social recruiting, we'll be hearing about that, and it's going to be a big part of the present and certainly the future. Started coming on the scene, and that changed everything. The cost has dropped, accessibility has increased, and it's just changed very, very drastically. Real quick run through the history of how this all kind of got, especially from the job board media, how it came to where it is today. 1992 was the first job board, OCC, was launched, and it was kind of the gold rush. People quickly realized you could use this internet to make money in the recruiting space. In 1994, you had Career Mosaic, and so those who have been in recruiting for a while remember these names and how do you even get these logos. Career Mosaic, Career Path was then launched in 94. Career Builder was launched by NetStar. The Monster Board was launched. It was quickly purchased by TMP. In 96, Hot Jobs was launched. And I'm going through this quickly on purpose because I'm really not wanting to focus on the past. But, and then 1997, Headhunter was launched. So by 1999, there were really basically 7 foundational boards you would consider the large national job boards. In Career Builder, Career Mosaic, Headhunter, Career Path, Hot Jobs, the Monster Board, and online career center. And this is the last slide of this. And then things started to really consolidate at that point. In 1999, the Monster board merged with Online Career Center to form Monster.com, so you got Monster. And then you had Career Builder and Career Path were both acquired by Knight Ridder and Tribune Media. And then quickly after that, Headhunter was acquired Career Mosaic, and then Career Builder acquired Headhunter. So essentially, Career Builder acquired Headhunter, Career Mosaic, and Career Path all within basically a year of each other. So that's how Career Builder was formed. So you got Monster, you got Career Builder, and then Hot Jobs kind of, when they were purchased by Yahoo, then they became obviously a large player. So really for the last 8 years, there's been 3 foundational kind of job boards, and it's in most media strategies, you look at, do I use all 3? And it used to be like kind of Monster, Career Builder, and I needed Hot Jobs for interactive. Then it became 2 of the 3, 1 of the 2. Maybe I use one for resume database access, I use one for postings, or I can have a posting strategy to both. And that's kind of, again, 8 years after all of that change and all of that kind of proliferation and then consolidation. It's been pretty stable. Underneath this, there's been a ton of things happening. I'll get to that next. This is really moving into the present. In February, Monster announced its intention to acquire Hot Jobs from Yahoo, which is kind of, again, now transitioning to where we're at now, creating a new opening for a foundational job or in the 3 spot. As of, I guess, Friday, that's official. So Monster now owns Hot Jobs. We've all seen it. We've all got the email. So now there's 2. So we went from this seed of foundational boards to really Career Builder and Monster, and then a ton of other types of kind of very, very interesting strategies and models underneath, Beyond being one of those. And then I'll show you this in a moment, the slide. But before I get into the kind of present, one of the I guess the treasure that came from this whole phase of consolidation was some really good commercials. You might remember, I think this one right in particular is really the one that kind of kicked off and launched the internet. Or the online recruitment phase. That be good. Can you? Maybe.
When I grow up, I want to be underappreciated. Because we're doing the same job. I want sunshine blowing up my dress.
And that's what I remember. That's the first thing I remember with this whole online recruitment world was that commercial by Brandon, and all of a sudden it's like, what is this Monster.com? Everybody started going online, and that was kind of the launch. Just a couple more, since it's the afternoon, just we can stay awake. This one is one of my favorites of all time that Monster also came up with, that a lot of people didn't see.
Black, the way a real man likes it. No mocha latte for you, huh?
Further expansion in the European markets will secure every instinct correct, sir.
That is why your name is on that door.
Right?
Sir, that tie is fantastic.
This is the
Whoa, sir. Another hot babe. You're on a roll.
This is my wife.
Nice work.
Sweetheart, it's not what you think.
Wanted to see you, sir?
Yeah, you're fired.
Downsizing. Nice.
Downsizing, nice. And then I'll just, one more to go with that last paper copy. Another one that hopefully you'll remember. So every year at the Super Bowl, you're looking at who had the best commercials, and always Monster Career Builder has been a good competition. And they really, can't flinch at this point. I think they've done a phenomenal job. I always look forward to their commercials. We always kind of watch those. There's been some underground ones that get released beforehand, and that's fine. Anyways,